And of course, she can't blame herself because in her mind, the ego and the conceit is such that she can practically do no wrong. But you're right. I mean, certainly you've gone from a case of money coming in from workers to going out on benefits. The trouble, these socialists running this country now are dinosaurs who still think it's the 70s.
Hi everybody, and welcome back to Nick Talks. This episode's returning, and still amazing guest is the Silver Fox from the Silver Fox Hot Takes. How you doing, Foxy?
Hi, Nick. Doing very, very well. Hi, everyone else. Thanks for joining us today.
Well, today there's only one topic we need to talk about today, and it's probably our favourite person. Well, it's a toss-up between Starmer and this individual, and this individual is Rachel Reeves, the Chancellor. The first female Chancellor of the UK, and she's really holding her own. And the last few days, she's been coming out with so many excuses about why the economy is flatlining, why it's failing, why she's having to come back for more taxes, why she's going to have to cut public spending. And surprisingly, Foxy, none of the excuses involve her or the Labour Party. It involves Brexit. Brexit's, even though it's 10 years ago we had the vote, it's Brexit's fault. It's Nigel Farage's fault, who's only ever sat in the European Parliament and a year now in Westminster. And it's everyone's fault apart from her. Are you buying it? Is anyone going to buy these excuses? Or is it just pathetic?
Oh, come on, Nick. This is a big boy did it and ran away, isn't it? This is a woman who is so underqualified for the role. A woman who lied on the CV. Someone who is at best the tea girl in a complaints department and has found herself very, very senior position and is failing spectacularly because she does not know what she's doing. And of course, she can't blame herself because in her mind, the ego and the conceit is such that she can practically do no wrong. So, of course, it can't be her decisions. It can't be her decision to raise national insurance on employers. That's not it. No, it can't be her decision to borrow vast amounts of money. No, that's not it. No, it's, as you say, Nigel Farage, a man who's never been in government. Must be his fault. Brexit, a 10-year-old vote. Yes, it's definitely that. The miners' strike, that was the latest one. Did you see that she blamed the miners' strike for setting the seeds?
I've missed that. I've missed this one. Tell me this.
41 years ago? The miners' strike. Oh, yes, it's definitely the miners' strike. Who next? Disraeli? Dinosaurs? The universe being born at just the wrong moment. How far back does she want to go before she can find anything in her heart to say, yeah, actually, it was me because I'm an underwhelming, talentless bint?
If she did say, obviously not as harsh as that, if she did say, do you know what? I think we have, not me, should say, we have made some mistakes managing the economy and we're going to correct some of the mistakes we've done. Now, she'll take a political hit for that. But do you think the markets would respond to that and say, that's fantastic news, she's going to reverse? Well, would she get a bump if she said that and tried to correct some of her mistakes? My understanding is the market is not personal. The market is all about the bottom line. And if they hear the things they want to hear and she starts implementing it, confidence will grow and the economy will grow.
I think it'd be a dead cat bounce. It would bump up slightly, but unless she follows through, because words are easy. I mean, this is what they do. All politicians. I want to announce this policy. I want to announce that one. Announcing things is easy because it's cheap. Doing is what costs, and doing is where you make the mistakes. And that's all this government have done. They've made mistake after mistake. So, yeah, sure. If she went out and said, OK, look, we got a couple of things wrong. We're looking at that. We're going to correct them. Then, yeah, the market would rise a little, mainly on the hope that something would change. But unless she followed through on it, it will just go back down to where it was again. Which is why they call it the dead cat bounce. Even a dead cat, you drop it, will bounce a little bit before it settles. And that's what's happening here. In terms of the markets, I don't think they trust her anymore. The bond market has basically said you can't have any more money. They said if British government comes for more, the interest rates are going to be punitive because they don't think we've got it within us to repay them. We are a credit risk now.
And the word punitive basically means punish.
Yeah, yeah. We'd have punishing interest rates.
Wow. Let's go back to the excuses. So anybody with any common sense won't believe any of those excuses. She must know that the vast majority of people won't believe her excuses. So who are her excuses for? Are they for her followers, for the committed, for the socialists? Are they just to keep them on board to make sure they don't start blaming her? Because even though we don't think she's that bright, she's not an idiot. She can't think most people are going to buy these excuses. Is this like a conference? Is this just for her own audience?
Before I answer that question, I just want to disagree with you. I think she is an idiot. I think she really has no idea of what she does and the consequences. I don't think she can see consequences. I said in one of my videos earlier that it's all short-termism. She can't see beyond the next budget. She's working one budget to the next instead of 10, 15, 20 years. She's not laying any seeds down. She can't focus on it. But this is the problem she's got. But who's she speaking to? I think she's speaking to Labour voters. I don't think anyone in the Labour Party, in the Parliamentary Labour Party, believes a word of it. They, I think, especially the backbenchers, I mean, they're all looking at her and thinking, what are you doing? What are you doing? For God's sake, give it up. Because they see that every decision she makes is hurting them. It's hurting their constituents. They're seeing businesses fold up, go away. Or, I mean, if they're not actually crashing and burning, they're leaving the country. They're seeing prices rise. Food, especially, I mean, food inflation is through the roof and it's going to get worse. And then she's proposing even more taxes. It's just going to be destruction in her wake. She is like the pale rider, isn't she? The fourth horseman of the apocalypse. Wherever she treads is death. And that's what we've got in a chancellor who just is out of her depth and has no answers to the problems she has caused.
One of the ways we can judge an economy and judge a chancellor is the unemployment rate. And it was announced a few days ago that unemployment is the highest it's been now in 4 years. And you might go, 4 years, it goes up and down. But 4 years ago, we came out of COVID and there was mass unemployment. So since mass unemployment, she's now managed to get us to the most unemployment since a lifetime changing event called COVID.
And I don't think it's ended yet. I think it's going to get worse. I think it's going to continue growing. I mean, I honestly think it's going to hit, you and I were there at the time, 82, 83, going into 84. When we were talking 3 million, 4 million unemployed. I will see that again soon. I see that within a year because of what's happening.
And off the top of your head, well, what's the number today?
Oh, isn't it about just around 2 million at the moment?
It's about 2-3 million, right? Because we've seen in the 80s, those, people might be thinking now, it's 2 million now. It's going to take a long time to get to 3 to 4. But that can happen very quickly. We saw that in the 80s, bang, 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 industries collapsing, people becoming unemployed. Now, the double whammy for her is not only is she damaging business, who are not hiring anybody, who are actually letting people go, and some businesses are folding. So those companies now are not paying corporation tax, not paying national insurance. Those workers are not paying income tax as well as their version of national insurance. But the double whammy is those individuals now are signing on. So now they're not giving money into the exchequer anymore. They're now taking money out of the exchequer. It's a double whammy for her. And how she didn't see this coming, I don't know.
Well, Neil, I'm even going to say it's a triple whammy because when those people were working, yes, they were paying their taxes and their national insurance, but they were also out in the community spending money in bars and pubs and and shops, cinemas, and that money was then going in VATable here, income tax there, and so forth. It was the tertiary spend, so that's all gone, and so those businesses around that economy's shrinking, so they're not paying as much tax either. It's a massive tax shrink again. Laffer curve. The higher the more tax you charge, the less money you get. But you're right. I mean, certainly you've gone from a case of money coming in from workers to going out on benefits, but also that on top of a shrinking economy as well. And so the government may be getting a slightly bigger share, but the cake's a lot smaller, So it's going to sit there. And I would say that, they talk about this 30 to 40, say £40 billion deficit now, even though last year was like, we got this one off. It was a once in a lifetime. And now it's once every year, I think. So they're talking about this 40 billion now based on today's numbers. But if the economy shrinks, that could double to 80 billion because there's just no money coming in. And where's she going to go for 80 billion next year? It's impossible. There'd just be nothing. You can't squeeze blood out of a stone, but she's going to. And she's turning into Dennis Healy. Remember that? Tax them till the pips squeak. Well, I'm afraid the pips are already squeaking. I think next stop IMF.
And the difference between the 70s and today is it's so much easier for almost anybody to move their assets abroad, to actually move abroad, to move their company abroad, or move parts of their company abroad. That was very difficult in the 70s. It's so much easier today.
Yeah, I mean, you're not shoving a suitcase filled with £20 notes and trying to get through customs. It's clickety gone, and it's literally there. It's gone. It's in a foreign account, and you can say, okay, I've got to have a physical presence because say I've got a warehouse or something. So you keep a small presence in this country. All the admin can go abroad, and you're not paying all the tax there. Some other countries getting the income tax in their country, not in here, and they're dinosaurs. This is the trouble. These socialists running this country now are dinosaurs who still think it's the 70s. And they haven't realized the world has moved on. We've become global. And, I can run this company from over there. And people are doing it.
I've noticed the phrase this last few days in all the mainstream media. When I'm reading online, newspapers online, basically is what I mean. And they're using a phrase called the doom loop. And what they basically mean is our economy is weak. So therefore, the Chancellor has tried to improve our economy by raising taxes, which then weakens the economy even more. So therefore, less money comes in. And the answer is we need to raise taxes again to improve the economy, which weakens the economy again. And it's this loop all the time. And it's a negative feedback loop. And they can't seem to see what they're doing. Or if they can see it, they're helpless because they're caught in it. Like knocking over a domino. Once you've done it, it's like, how do you stop all the other dominoes falling over?
Yeah. I'm not 100% convinced it isn't deliberate. I'm not 100% convinced that this government haven't come in deliberately to destroy our economy. I really do think that. I'm very certain with what's going on that we've got a government of traitors. I'm pretty sure Starmer and that lot, they're working for the Chinese government. And I honestly think that has been their plan from day one, is to destroy the British economy. And they've done a good job of it. And I don't see, there's no way with her there that this can be stopped, because she's only got the tax hammer. That's the only tool in her box. And she has no understanding of how to create growth. I could reverse it. If you made me the dictator tomorrow, I could reverse it. But nobody's going to do that. And that's a shame. But all she's got is tax. We haven't got enough money. Tax them. Now I've got even less money. Tax them again. Now I've got even less money. She doesn't get it because she's got a very limited intellect. Oh, I'm the First Lady Chancellor. Well, what we do? Can we have a good Chancellor, though, instead? I don't care what plumbing arrangements you got, love. I just want someone who understands what they're doing, and it ain't her.
If we're looking at reasons why they could potentially crashing the economy on purpose, I've not thought of the China one, but the one that always jumps into my mind is, could this be a way of short term ruining the economy so we have to rejoin the EU? So if we have to go for a bailout, conditions are you need to rejoin the EU, or if you want more favourable trading terms that help to improve the economy, you've got to join the EU. Could this be a underhand way of rejoining the EU?
Yeah, I mean, it could be, but it'll have to be quick because I don't know if you saw what was happening in France over the last few days. They were burning all the EU flags, ripping them up, pulling them down, because France has just given all their nuclear power, all their nuclear weapons to the EU, and is giving up its seat on the Security Council at the UN to the EU. The UN haven't decided yet whether to count the EU as a sovereign state. And if it does, well, that makes life very, very difficult because China and Russia are very much against this. So it could be an absolute massive backfire. But the French are really unhappy and they just say, get us out of the EU now. And the Dutch are unhappy and the Poles are unhappy and the Hungarians are unhappy. So there might not even be an EU. Woohoo.
Yeah. Well, I won't miss the EU. If I was a French man, I'd be extremely unhappy if us giving our nuclear arsenal away. I'd also be extremely unhappy giving our seat on the at the UN Security Council away. I'm not a great fan of the United Nations and Security Council, but if we've got a permanent seat on that, then I want to keep it in case it ever comes in handy. I'm not giving it away to someone else.
Yeah, it's priceless.
It is. And this is what happens with the EU. This happens to these big multi-border organizations. They destroy nation states, and they always want to destroy nation states. So now that I've thought about it out loud, you're probably right. The EU rejoining the EU probably isn't on their mind because the EU has enough of problems themselves. And the last thing the EU want, they might want our money, but what they don't want are those moaning British people back in the mix, because we was in trouble when they were here. We're in huge trouble now. We don't need them moaning from the inside. So that probably isn't it. What do you see the future of Rachel Reeves? Let's end on this. We've said many times now, she's attached to the hip with Keir Starmer. Keir Starmer cannot let her go because he will follow. Are the pair of them going to go in May when they get a slapping at the elections? What's your crystal ball telling you?
Right. I'm going to say that assuming, and it's a big assumption, assuming Starmer's still there in May and that this whole China syndrome hasn't caused a meltdown and got rid of him through him lying to Parliament, which is now everyone accepts he's lied to Parliament, and that should be a resignation matter. But assuming he's still there in May, I think if he does take a complete slapping in the elections, I think the words will be put, and there'll be an invitation to stand down, shall we say. If he goes, she's gone. On the other hand, I think if he survives it, could get rid of her at the end of the third year and say it's because he wants to revitalize everything going into the next election phase. And he wants to embed the new chancellor in that position, and he could get around it that way. So I think she's safe until the end of 2027, if he's still there. The moment he's gone, she's gone.
Let me put the scenario to you before we go. That scenario you said comes to pass. He manages to survive. They're going to give him a bit more longer. She has to go. She goes. And he appoints Lammy.
No, it'll never be Lammy as Chancellor. He can't count. Not that she's much better, but no, he cannot put Lammy as Chancellor. No, I think it would probably be, well, another Healey, John Healey, maybe. I could see him being Chancellor. I could see, oh God, who's the Duchy of Lancaster guy? Always looks like a tortoise with his shell off. Oh, I can't think of his name, but I can see his face. Can't think it's gone out of my head. But there's him, and there's possibly Wes Streeting. Can't think of anyone else who could even fill the role.
Right, well, let's end on this. Promise me, seriously now, on live on this podcast, promise me it's not going to be David Lammy. Promise me.
I promise you, there is no way on earth it could be David Lammy. They would be ructions in the Treasury if you put that oath in there. There's no way it can be him.
Right, thank you. You've made me feel a bit better now. Thank you, because that really began to worry me then, and you've calmed me down. Thank you so much, Foxy. As always, thanks for coming on. And if you don't subscribe to Foxy's account, go in the description of the video, click the link, his link. It'll take you to his account. Make sure you subscribe. Many videos a day. You'll thoroughly enjoy them. But cheers, Foxy.
Thanks, mate. I'm always glad to be of service, glad to be on the channel, and thanks to everyone at home for watching. Bye.